All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe. All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe. Greetings, meetings, and hopefully not beatings, people. This is DFG in the house, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, I'm always smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Hey, this is the third, going into the fourth week of June, and it's hot here in lovely Virginia. It's hot, 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 hot. Hit triple digits. I know we're probably not in New York City, but I'm sure everywhere else on the East Coast was roasting. Well, and today we're going to
Yeah,
talk.
it was 105 degrees today in New York City, just so you know.
Okay, okay, Apple, you got it, you got it. Well, I just started dabbing in a new program that I'm using for editing, and I made a post, a pure AI post, and posted it. It was called "Things I Picked Up Along the Way." Let me tell you about that in a little bit. But before I go into that, I want to introduce my team. They're said they know me like family because they are. First, I'm gonna talk about my favorite girl, the Chocolate Pearl. What's going on, Pearl? I guess she on hiatus for now. And I'm next, and until she comes on, I'm going to talk about the girl that's sweet as Snapple, the New York City girl, Miss Apple. Let's go, Miss Apple. What's going on?
Hey, everybody, it is hot, 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 hot. Disrespectfully hot today in New York City. But we're going to have a good show today, and I'm very, very, very happy to be here. I just saw my brand new grandson. He's 2 days old and fell in love instantly.
Of course.
And
The what's the oldest 5-year-old say?
um, she likes him now. Yeah.
Okay.
She's
That's
excited.
that's good. That's good. And also in the house we have Miss Kim, who's part of the family. She's here too. She's doing her thing. And usually I got people that's coming on probably on YouTube Live. So I want to thank them and thank everyone for coming, showing, liking, and sharing. Before I go into that, I'm going to the genesis of how I built this video. I wrote down, I was in this group, MSN group, that tells you how far back I go. I started in 1998 when I lived in New York, and then went up till they got rid of the groups in about '07, '08. So during those, one lady started this thing, things I learned. So I took that and I was adding things to it and I finished it. I did it back in like 01, 02. So I figured, I said, let me try this on this AI program, see if it came out. And people had, they generally were okay with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a few, and then this is what we're gonna talk about. If y'all out there on Facebook Live, IG Live, YouTube Live, hey, we try to get it out to you every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern. Give me a second, and I will put, and the show will be on the road. Of course, you got to figure out how to do it. Let's see.
DFG here, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and smooth as a Rolls Royce. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will go over some observations I made while participating in various blogs on the internet in the early 2000s. Some are not so common sense, some are things you have personally observed. So sit back, enjoy, and I hope that you learn something. Number one, if you think something is wrong, it probably is.
Now I'm gonna stop there for a second. Usually, y'all know when something's wrong because y'all invented CSI and the FBI for real, for real. So why is it that y'all don't trust y'all don't trust y'all innate ability to find stuff. I'm gonna start with Chocolate Pearl. Oh, that's Niecy. What's going on, Niecy? Oh, I'm
I
like,
was wondering what was going to take you long to realize it was me. I'm waiting on my mama to hurry up and do what she got to do right now. Everybody's still kind of getting in the house, and I was like, let me see. Dad was like, well, go ahead and say hey, and I was like, what? So I decided to sit in until my mama ready.
okay, well, you in the crosshairs, niece. So, okay, if you know something is wrong, why don't y'all like to follow in and follow up and do it?
Well, for me personally, if it's sometimes I find it hard for some men to understand fully what a woman is truly going through, especially when it comes to like, mentally and like mental issues. I find it hard to really truly explain it to a guy. And yeah, a guy can understand, but it's to the detail, to a certain detail, to where it's like it doesn't really comprehend the actual extent of what, I'm personally feeling. And what a lot of times, sometimes women don't even know how to explain it to where a person can understand it in layman terms. Because sometimes, like for instance, if somebody is going, like if a woman is going through some sort of like depression of the mental, and I have to explain it to my significant other, but that significant other doesn't have the capacity to understand what's happening, it creates a friction because now you're trying to figure out what's going on with me, and if I don't quite understand what's going on with me, it's going to create even more of a struggle to try to get the solution. Hey, mommy, get the solution then and there. So I feel like it's easier. Well, some women feel that it's easier to just not say anything at all and try to figure it out themselves. Is that right? No. Is that the best way to do it? No, not really. But if it's going the complications and emotional complications that's are and aggravations that I'm already going through because you don't understand what I'm going through, then yeah, I'm not going to say nothing. But is that something that we should do? No. I just feel like there should be a gap that should be crossed between both genders so that the effort of understanding and comprehending what's really going on could be crossed and not so much as a huge problem. But I feel like that's the main reason because it's hard to really understand what's going on. That's how I
Oh,
feel.
okay, you probably need to come on our show a little bit more.
Oh,
And
see, this is see how they wrote me in here. I was
Mhm.
just minding my business and
Oh,
seeing what the scene was in a placeholder, and here y'all go. I get
yep,
voluntold.
yes.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean?
Hey, you feel how you feel, but thing is though, you're giving. See, most of us in here are seasoned. We seasoned folks. I don't say that the
Like,
old word because
so
out my head. But anyway, you know, we need some different perspectives because one thing I don't want this show to be is echo chamber. And trust me, we ain't. But you don't have to come on all the time, just when you feel like it.
yeah. You ready, mommy? You doing good. No, 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 the placeholder. It's a placeholder.
Well,
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get y'all's chocolate pearl back on here.
all right,
Chocolate pearl junior.
okay,
Bye, y'all.
all right.
It's
Well,
chocolate pearl from Duke. What
all
did
right.
I miss?
You missed number one, so and that's what your daughter was talking about. So I'm gonna go on to the next one.
2. If he doesn't call you, it's because he doesn't want to. Number 3. If he doesn't ever invite you to his home, it's because for some reason or another you are not welcome there. 4. He does it because you let him, and yes, that's the only reason that you get treated that way.
Well, let me finish that.
You teach people how to treat you, and the way he treats you is what you taught him was acceptable.
Now, Chocolate Pearl, now that you're on those two through four, what did you think about those?
All right. I really didn't catch it,
Let me,
unfortunately.
let me run it
But
back.
it looks like you're talking about how people treat you
That's one of
or
them.
how your
That's
significant other treats you.
no, both. Both.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
I agree with the last part where the person was announcing that you allow people to treat you the way you want them to treat you. And I say that in this manner. Some people don't know how they want to be treated. They just allow people to just do whatever and they accept it. but then you have some people who actually know how they want to be treated. And this is probably why a lot of times they are single, because they know how they want to be treated. And whoever that comes around them don't want to treat them in that manner. So you have to make up your mind whether how you want to be treated is the way you want to be treated, or do you have to learn that way?
And that's a question that has so many different parts and so many different dependencies. I don't think we can get we that take up that'd be a whole show on itself. You
Yeah.
know, for real, for real, for real. But yeah, the way you treat it, and I believe these two things. You attract who you are, and if you're treating people like crap, that means you're a crappy person. Because if someone tells you a couple of times, I got a hard head and I'm stubborn, but I do listen. Um, a lot of times, you know, a lot of us ignore stuff or let it slide, and then next thing you know, we blowing up because we done let it slide too many times.
Right,
That,
exactly. But then
that's
it becomes the norm for that other person. If they're so used to you letting things slide, they're going to continuously do that. And then you don't like it, but because you allowed it in the beginning and you allowed it to become a trait, then it's hard to stop. It's hard to just go cold turkey and say, okay, I don't want that anymore. I need you to change. No, they got into the routine of doing that. That's like with my first marriage. They got into the routine of me doing a bunch of stuff and over and over again. I'm constantly bailing us out. I'm constantly doing this. I'm constantly fixing that. And they got so complacent in it that now that we're not together, they don't know how to do that on their own.
well, they'll probably get somebody to do it for them. That's just how.
You're going to get somebody to do it, but it becomes the norm for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It becomes the norm.
Yes, yes. Trust me. I lived it with you. I know. Let's go down to Madam D from the Thursday show, Tantalizing Talk. What's going on, Madam D? How you doing down there in the 912?
I'm doing good. We just getting ready for they're having a Quavo concert on Friday. And so I got family coming down.
Okay, okay, okay. Our people from Savannah, so we're well familiar with the area, but not up there in Liberty County though. They're all in Chatham and some in Effingham and yeah, places like that. Uh, treating people, you know, the question was what we were talking about. You get treated in a way because you allow it, and um, it's interesting. And we were talking about that, and I also said that we attract who we are. If we keep attracting the same people, that means that's who we are, and they're attracted to what we are. So, do you agree or disagree, or anything else about treating? You get treated the way you allow yourself to be treated.
Yeah, I do agree with that because a lot of times like Chocolate Pearl was saying, like if you allow it in the beginning, certain behaviors to happen, then they think that it's okay, but really you're not okay with it. You just kind of let it slide. And so I've just learned just to be straight up in the beginning because whatever you do in the beginning, you're either going to have to keep that up or they're going to wonder what happened, like when you nut up on them.
Oh, I got you. But I think
But you
overall,
changed. When you want them to treat you like the way you really wanted them to treat you, they saying you changed. Don't you
They
yeah,
agree?
do. They do. Because
that's
I think sometimes in the beginning, I know like in my younger self, we want to know what people like and we want to please people. And it's not about the people pleasing, it's about having respect for yourself and setting boundaries. And some things are negotiable, some things are non negotiables. And for me, if you don't show respect I'm just not dealing with you.
Right.
But Madam D, also, isn't it you gotta bring some to get some?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two-way street, and I agree with both of y'all. But the thing is though, is that there's got to be some give and take because nobody's perfect. But if you allow in the same behavior, you can't get mad later and be talking about why you keep doing that. So with that, I'm gonna keep going.
Just want
He
to say
doesn't
one
call
thing
you it's
before you.
because he doesn't want to. Number three,
Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Pearl.
just wanted to say something real quick before you go on to the next one. When people allow that, I know that when I started out in life and getting significant others or dating, whatever, I was being myself, and if I didn't like something, you was cut off. I just dumped you. Then I tried to do to where, okay, I'm gonna be with someone that cares for me, but even though I know he's lacking and stuff, I would see if I can try to change that. People have this thing that they feel that they can change people into something that they want. And then I realized you can't. After being with someone for so long, I later realized I can't change you if you don't want to change. And I feel I shouldn't have to change you. So I told them that instead of changing you, let's try and improve what already exists. Then that didn't work. So now, and then I tried to be with another mate, I tried to be submissive. That didn't last long because I realized I wasn't being me, trying to change for someone else or be the person that they wanted. We have to learn to be ourselves at the end of the day, and we need to be like Madam D said. We have to be upfront and be ourselves and let people know straight off. Um, I have calmed down with my attitude and my anger and all that other good stuff. So when I met Dabs, he got the civilized me, but he also can see where, if I get upset, he knows he recognizes that. So you find somebody, but you have to learn to be yourself on both ends. And that way you don't collide later on or have to constantly correct things or feel that you have to correct things or you no longer want them because they're still not doing what you wanted or they're still not what you wanted in the beginning that you thought you can change. So we need to keep in mind that we can't change anybody and we can't even try to improve the existence of what they're doing. They have to make the effort to do it on their own. But they always say when somebody shows you who they really are, believe them in the beginning.
Right, right. And that's the thing is that, you can only fake but so long and before who you are comes out and it doesn't matter if it takes 10 years or 5 years, you're gonna find out.
three, if he doesn't ever invite you to his home, it's because for some reason or another you are not welcome there. Four, he does it because you let him, and yes, that's the only reason that you get treated that way. You teach people how to treat you, and the way he treats you is what you taught him was acceptable. Number five, clinging to a man that does not think enough of you to take care of your heart is not a very smart thing to do.
So what do you think about number five? Apple.
I'm sorry, my cat dog and my dog was fighting, so I didn't catch it. Can you replay it?
Murder cat. Murder cat's back up to it.
Yeah, she tried to kill a puppy.
Number five, clinging to a man that does not think enough of you to take care of your heart is not a very smart thing to do. Six,
Did you hear that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with that. When
So is your
you
heart
when
is
you
your heart wallet?
when you allow someone and like in the earlier points, when you allow someone to treat you a certain way, that's what they're used to. And a lot of people just go along to get along, and that's never going to serve you well. So if you don't know how
Oh,
to treat my heart, then you don't deserve the rest of me. That's how I feel.
now did you follow that when you were younger?
No, I had to learn it. I had to learn it. Just like the rest of us. I'll. I would say, well, if I just do this, he would like me more, or if I just do that, maybe X, Y, and Z, he would treat me better. And I had to learn, like, he's not going to treat me better because I'm not demanding it. So it's time to either move on or, pop him upside the head. I don't condone violence.
I do. But
I
you're right.
like what you said that part.
Yeah, definitely. I
Uh,
I agree. I definitely agree. So I don't know if y'all could probably read that one, but this is for y'all ladies, and I know Kim has some people she know that do that. Gotta have a man, gotta have a man, gotta have a man. But you know, SOS.
shouldn't be it shouldn't be I gotta have a man. It should be I have to have a good man.
Well, good
Because
minute.
you can have a man all day long and they don't do what they're supposed to do. And you can be by yourself all day long, but you still be lonely. But what you need is the right man. That's a difference.
But it goes back to what we were talking about. He does it because you allow it, or she does it because he allows it. And a lot of times we don't look into, we so busy missing something or fearing we're gonna miss something that we just grab onto anything that wakes up to us and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Shaking, handshake and stuff like that. But overall, it's if they don't care about your heart, then you probably need to like take a step way, way back. And then like I said, going to having a man is not better than, having no man at all, because we always talk about that. And if y'all want to listen to Just Be Good to Me by SOS Band, one of my favorite songs of all time. I didn't realize that was a side chick song until about 3, 4 years ago. Go ahead, Miss Kim.
No, I just want to say the statement said having a man is not better than having no man. But do you have to have a man like right away? Can't you? Sometimes it's better to work on yourself before getting into a relationship because you're only going to take along baggage. You're not ready. You're not mentally, physically ready for a man. Sometimes it takes times you to work on yourself first because once you start loving who you are, knowing who you are, then when you get that man, it 9 times out of 10, hopefully it will be the right man. But jumping from one relationship to the next relationship, just because I don't want to be by myself, I don't think that's the way to go.
Singing that main ingredient song, I just don't want to be lonely. you know, but hey, I work for a living, so I can't quit my day job.
Well, it took me, and not saying that I didn't do it, I did. Years ago, I just felt like, okay, I needed some companionship. I was lonely. I didn't want to be by myself. And then I had to look and think, I keep getting these deadbeats, or they only wanted me because of what I had. They wanted to ride my coattail. But when I took the time to work on for Kim, and doing things for myself, then it opened up the door for I wasn't looking for no man or feeling like I needed a man. That man came into my life organically, naturally.
But that's what's called maturity. That being mature about being by yourself, because it's okay to be by yourself. It said, we talked about loneliness last week, but being by yourself don't mean that you're lonely. You just be to yourself. And whether you're a man or a woman, you have to understand that we can't be entertained all the time by somebody else. Sometimes we have to reach. I think a lot of times we get into that because we're empty inside and we're looking for somebody else to fulfill us. What do you think, Miss Summer? I know you on the road, you in them streets.
Okay, so ask me the question again, please, because I'm thinking I got 1,000 things in my head right now.
Just
Happy
because
anniversary.
Thank you.
that well, happy anniversary. How many is it? 3?
Yeah, eternity. No, it's 27.
Oh, good. Congratulations. So you went 4 times more than the average marriage.
Oh,
Yeah, marriage is
4 years longer than mine.
7.
sure.
But yeah, but it's good. But basically what we were saying is that you don't have to be just because you're by yourself doesn't mean that you're lonely. And just because, we talked about loneliness last week, now we're talking about, I don't always have to have someone around me. And that's kind of not the opposite, but it's in the same vein. I always got to have somebody with me. I'm always looking, I'm going from pillar to post looking for somebody. And it doesn't have to necessarily be bumping and grinding, but it's just some people can't sit still and they feel they got to be out there. And every time you do that, you run into like what Miss Kim was saying. You run into those, and it's like, why am I getting all these bums or getting people that want me for something that you know want what I got? And that's you gotta a lot of times when you vetting people in your life, you gotta measure twice and cut once. Because if you cut once and measure twice, I mean, if you cut twice, you ain't gonna always get it right. So vet the people who are in your life, whether in any type of relationship, whether they're siblings, whether they're acquaintances, whether they people you pass down the street, whether you're sleeping with them, whether you're not sleeping with them. You have to vet the people to keep your sanity because some people come into your life and they don't do nothing like bring all of that stuff, all that negativity to you, and then you wondering why you arguing with your significant other, and you wondering why you mad for no reason. I'm gonna continue.
Having a man is not better than having no man at all. When you settle for less than what you deserve, rest assured that you will receive less than what you settle for. Number 7. If you can't ask a man that you are sleeping with some very honest questions about the relationship, then you probably need to grab your panties and exit stage left. No.
So I know I shouldn't be getting any disagreements with that. Go ahead.
Stage left.
Go ahead, Miss Summer.
So okay, so it's a lot. Basically, I don't even know how to phrase it. This can be a lonely world, and companionship is wonderful with the right person. It's wonderful if you can go with a partner and travel the world and experience things together. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a beautiful thing. Um, I think sometimes people's background can shape um, their decisions as grown-ups. I'm talking about like um, if they have a lot of loss in the past, sometimes a person might settle for someone just to have someone. It might not always be the greatest person, but they're there. They have a sense of security and comfort knowing that that person is in the house.
But
It's a
does
lot.
say no, but is comfort worth being a crushed soul?
Yeah, see, it's so if I think if a person is I don't want to say strong, I shouldn't say that word, but if a person gets uplifted, if they sometimes counseling, if they work on themselves, if they're strong independently, then sometimes they may make a better decision on a partner. But if they are wounded, if they've been if they have a rough background, sometimes they might not make good decisions. I mean, it could go either way. That's just one factor. There's a lot of different factors. But I think if you're strong as a person, you won't accept certain things no matter what, no matter how tempting they are. A guy could be really, really good in bed, but he doesn't treat you right. He doesn't call you, he doesn't spend any time with you. Um, it's just a lot of different factors that could play. But I think if a person is I don't even know how to phrase it because I'm not trying to down anybody because we all have different backgrounds and things of that nature. But sometimes a strong support system can deter certain people from being in your life. That could be like church or like a guardian or somebody with if a person knows that they can't mess with you in a certain way or they'll be a deterrent. It's a lot of different factors, but this is a very interesting topic. Um, I I got married young. My husband and I went through a lot of different experiences and stuff together. And I've had to grow and learn with him. And so I don't know what it's like not to be without someone, but I do know what it's like to work on things and go through struggles and different type of things and grow together with someone. So it's hard. People can change. It's a lot of different factors with this.
Yeah, people could change, but they have, we've said earlier, you got to want to change because, good habits are hard to start and easy to stop. Good routines are the same way. Exercise, we all want to exercise, but we get a couple of times we miss one day, it comes easy to miss the next one. So the thing is also you have to have the focus within yourself to say, I want this, or you have to understand that you're not going to always have great days, but you gotta push on anyway, because the Bible says we press towards the mark of the high calling, which is Christ Jesus. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a smooth walk. And then with bumps and bruises along the way, if you're running away at the first sight of trouble, then do you really want a relationship or do you just want to be pampered? That's just my opinion on that. And I'll continue with the show.
You pick your man, not the other way around. No, 9. Just because he.
Yeah. I I'm kind of on the I I wrote that like in '02. I do not necessarily think that's the case anymore because women do the picking, but men do the keeping. And what I'm saying and what I say, let me explain that. Women allow men inside their innermost parts. If that's not how it happened, then it's a crime. Men decide, is this woman going to be with me for a night or forever? So it is people pick each other. That's a change that I had from when I was younger. Um, DJ Dabs, what do you think? Did you get picked or did you do the picking? Bean, can you hear me, Bean?
I do the picking.
Okay,
I
you do.
do the picking. I do the plucking and the throwing in of the away. Okay.
So how's that working out for you?
It's fine because I love myself and I like being by myself. I have no problem with my own company. I crack myself up, but I also find that I crack up a lot of people, but they can't take me. So I could date. I could date. I'm at the point in my life to where, like I said, I've been saying this. I am purposely single. I'm single on purpose, and I don't have the wherewithal to be dealing with certain certain emotions, and um yeah. So like I said, I spend most of my time now, especially within the last year, I spend most of my time by myself. But that's not just the last year. I've been doing that for years. So I could be around people and I'm a lovely, lively person, but I will be in a room or an event full of people with a book in my hand and have a good time also. So yeah. So I've been through a lot and I've been to the point to where I picked people that I knew I shouldn't be picking, and I let people go that I knew I shouldn't have let go. But
So,
that's a part of life.
quick cut, quick question being, how often did you throw somebody away and then think later that you not fumbled the
No,
bag?
once I'm done, and usually once I'm done, I'm done. We could be friends, and that's me. When I'm saying friends, that means friends. I'll give you advice, even if it's bad advice. I'll give you advice. It's up to you to take it. But and we could hang out, you know. But as far as anything intimate or anything, no, we're friends, and I don't sleep with my friends. So, and that's a
That's a
lot.
good.
And a lot of people say, I had ex that say men and women can't be friends because there's always going to be a sexual undertone. Provided it might be true, but that don't mean that I can't be friends with the opposite sex without me wanting to jump in the bed with them.
Yeah, no,
And
I
that's
understand
not
that.
fair. That's not a fair comparison because I grew up around boys. So growing up, I had a majority of all my friends were boys, and none of them liked me. Maybe because I was too skinny. I don't know if I was too skinny, too dark, or what. Too loud, ghetto. I don't know. But they didn't like me in that way. I was one of the homies. To this day, a lot of my friends, I'm one of the homies. They oh, there go that dude, and I'm straight. I am a completely
Allegedly.
yeah, yeah, that's what everybody think. But so I could, like I said, I have no problem with being by myself. Do I get lonely sometimes? Yes. I'm a human, and humans need interaction with the opposite sex, the same sex. They need interaction. But like I said, me and as my sibling, we all seven of us could be in the house, but we won't be in the same room, or we'll be in the
Talking
same
to,
room and
nobody talking to nobody.
exactly and having a good old time. So yeah, I don't know.
I got you. I got you. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Chocolate Pearl. Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Makes you feel good in bed does not mean he has feelings for you. Number 10,
Just because somebody is good in bed, and that's both, because like I said, this was like 20 something years ago. But yeah, just because they make you do the old face does not mean they are they feel anything but getting a release. Does anybody disagree with that? Let me call on DJ Dabs. You there?
Yes, sir. I was here.
So, um how well I'm not going to ask that question because I really don't want to know, but in the past, did you stay with somebody because they had the good?
No, I've never.
Did anybody leave you because even though you might have slanging, but that's the only reason they were staying with you.
No, I don't think I've been in that situation.
Okay. Um, yeah, it's one of those things. Sometimes it would be good to me.
No man worth keeping will call you after 11 p.m. unless you specifically ask him.
Now, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You called me after 9. You ain't get my call. My phone is not being answered.
Well,
And yeah, no.
yeah, but that's the thing though. I still believe that. I still believe that because if you call in when, normal people are sleeping or getting ready to go to sleep, that's a lack of respect. Miss Dreen, I know you still over there in the Great White in the Far East. Um, what do you think about what do you think about number 10?
Calling after a certain time?
What do you mean?
What was number 10? If you call when people are asleep, that what
After 11. If no man should be calling you after 11.
I don't
Let you
I
sleep.
don't know. I don't necessarily sustain to that. I think that just depends on what type of person you are and what hours you keep. Like, I don't know. If you're getting to know me, I think it depends on the conversation you're bringing after 11, but I don't even think it matters. I don't that I disagree with. And I just see that as I don't know. People being I don't know if I don't even know if it's old fashioned. I just feel like everyone's different and we all have different time clocks. So I don't think calling me after 11 is necessarily I feel like if you're just initially, maybe it might come off a certain way, but I'm going to look at what conversation are you bringing to me after 11. And if you're like maybe that's your work
What do you
time
think?
and your wake time.
Most conversations between men and women happen after 11 o'clock. What type of conversation do you think?
I think any type of conversations can happen after 11 o'clock.
Oh, no, no, no. No, when a dude's calling you at 12 or 1:58 a.m. talking about what you doing, they ain't calling to ask you for some well, they are sugar in a way, but they ain't coming over
I'm
for
sorry. Can I
something
say
like that.
something? What
Go
was
ahead.
that? I'm sorry. What is that old saying? Ain't nothing open but the police station and legs after
Hospital,
11.
hospital legs.
Well, well, in this time of the police station and legs, because yeah. So that that goes a long way because me being the person I was when I was younger, I accepted those calls. And I remembered, and Apple could test, when I first came back to New York City from California, I I hooked up with one of the guys that I had a crush on when I was younger. And he had me on the train at 3 o'clock in the morning, me going from Queens to the Bronx. And I didn't see anything wrong at the time. I'm thinking now I was young and dumb, but now I'm like, I will never do that. I would never do that now. I'm like, you better call me in the morning. Once the sun comes up, you could call me.
You
Yeah,
can call me. That doesn't mean I'm going to get on the train and definitely. I don't think that is directly. I think it depends on the person you are. I think you can call me. It depends on your conversation, but I'm not going to leave. You're not going. You might not necessarily be coming over. We might just be having a conversation because I'm a night owl. So it all depends.
yeah, Miss Nikki on YouTube Live put no booty call over here, and the only other thing that's open is 7-Eleven and Waffle House. Waffle House never closed either. But it's I understand what you're saying, Miss Dream, because but that's something that you gotta work out regardless. Because most of the people I know that have season that at my level of seasoning, we don't, 10 o'clock is the new 2 a.m.
Number 11. Having a baby will not keep a man. Number 12.
Now, how many of y'all know if I'm sure none of y'all had that keep a dude baby, but how many people had a child just so they could be close to the person they had the child with? Anybody? Madam D?
I know quite a few, like during the, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and being a teenager, there were girls that thought that that would keep a guy. And even after we got out of high school, there were still some females with that mindset. And I'm sure that it's probably the same.
Yeah, but that doesn't usually work out.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying there are people like that.
Oh yeah, and that's I know people say what you want about Kevin Samuels. He was right about one thing. A baby is the greatest gift a woman can give to a man because that's like said I allowed you to continue your legacy with me. So if you're keeping the baby because the dude that you're with and thinking that's going to keep him there, 9 times out of 10, he probably was in the street. So well, he probably wasn't doing what he needed to do before he did it, but keeping a baby ain't gonna having a baby don't mean he gonna stay.
A man's actions speak louder than his words. If he says he's going to do something and doesn't, he didn't want to do it in the first place.
And as a guy, I could tell you that that's true. I drag my feet a lot on stuff. I like to get stuff done, but I drag my feet. Probably drag my feet more. Um, you should be able to tell when a guy's like not really feeling it because they won't do it right away, or they'll just But also along those lines is that we all have to understand the person that we're with and knowing when they're gonna do something and not you can't put nothing past nobody. I say, um, Apple. What do you think about actions and words?
I'm a big fan of that. If you're gonna say you're gonna do something, do it, or shut up. Don't tell me you're gonna do something and don't do it. That's the quickest way for me to cut you off and not speak to you, because to me your word is everything. If you can't do it, you say it up front, like, listen, I can't do it. Or even if you don't want to do it, let me know. But don't lie to me and gaslight me into thinking that, oh, you wanted to do it, but this, that, and the third happened and you weren't able to do it. I don't have the tolerance for that. Maybe when I was younger, oh, he said he was going to do it, but his dog ate the bird, and I make excuses for him. But now I don't tolerate that, because I feel at this time in my life, excuses just to have an excuse is not going to be tolerated. And if we can't be upfront with each other and honest and open, then why are we even in a relationship? And if you can't keep the promise that you made to someone that you claim to love or care about, then what type of person are you really?
And I don't think it, and I agree to a point, Apple, because you're right. You should be able to do what you say. However, I don't think I don't think for most people that happens to. I don't think it always starts off that way. It may be they'll say, they'll miss a deadline or something, or something happened and they have something legitimate, but if it's continued and they always say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, and ain't not and those results ain't matching, then you have to really think, what are you talking about? Because you're right. A lot of people don't want to seem to be bad people, but so they'll say stuff to get you out of their hair for that moment. And that means they didn't want to lie to you. They just didn't want to deal with you seeing them as a bad person. And I think for most people, we don't want to be seen as bad people, but we do things to put ourselves in the best light, and we don't always like the light that's cast on us. So we kind of say things we don't really mean, but we don't take the other person's feelings into consideration because a lot of people wouldn't ask you if they didn't need it. And that's what I think. That's what I think.
And I get that. I absolutely get that. But my point is, if I ask you to do something, or even if you offer to do something, and it has to be done by a certain timeline, and you wait until the ninth hour
Oh
to
yeah.
say you can't do it, or don't do it and wait until I ask you why wasn't it done.
Yeah,
To me,
no,
that's irresponsible, and you didn't really want to do it, which
yeah.
you could have been upfront with it.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
they didn't want to, and the thing is that I agree with that. I'm saying, but I think people do it. I think
Back on the bed and climb on my
do
suitcase
it
on the bed to close it because
because they don't want to be the bad person, or they want to, but that's not an excuse. You should do what you got to do. Stuff happens, but you know, it's one of those things.
Number 13. If you can't directly address the issue, then you have yourself to blame. Number 14. If you
Now that goes without saying. If you can't directly, if there's something you don't like, you need to say it up front. Now I know people that I'm related to in this room have done that. It ain't no pea footing around, but but it keeps us honest with each other. People we might BS other people, but we know each other, so we can say stuff, and some stuff is real personal, but we understand that they wouldn't if they didn't say it and we found out we'd be disappointed in that person. We probably wouldn't trust them no more. But um Madam D, what do you think about that last one, number 14?
Can you repeat it?
Let me hold on, give me a second.
Number 13. If you can't directly address the issue, then you have yourself to blame. Number 14. If you aren't
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm a huge communicator, so I have no problems addressing the issue, but it's been my experience sometimes the other person don't want to hear what you have to say, so
No,
be
nobody wants to hear they suck. How many people want to be like, yeah, yeah, tell me more that I suck.
so I mean, I keep it real. If you don't want to hear it, then you don't need to hang out with me.
And that's understandable. I always had a saying. I say, be honest, but you don't have to be brutal. That don't mean sugarcoating stuff, but you could tell a person. There's ways you tell the people the truth, but sometimes you have to choose your words because it may not be bad to you, but it's not what's said, it's what's heard. So I definitely understand. I definitely understand that. But if you need to take a shower, you need to take a shower, and I'll tell you that you stink. But I wouldn't do that like in front of everybody. Ooh, you stink. If you stink, you stink. But it's just you can't expect people to want to eat out of a bowl when you put crap into it and say, here, take it, take it. That's how it is when you do things, you bludgeon people over the head with a fact and then acting to make yourself look better or feel better with that. That's how I look. That's how I look at it. What about you, Miss Kim? She must have dozed it off. Oh,
I did. Until I heard you call my name.
I was saying, number 13. Let me.
Number 13. If you can't directly address the issue, then you have yourself to blame. Number 14.
Oh, just be upfront. I mean, I'm real verbal or vocal. If there's an issue, I am going to talk about it, want to talk about it because I'm a communicator. So I would blame myself if I never said, what the issue was. Then that's on me. Because I feel like if you in a relationship or with friends, if there's a problem, you need to talk it out.
That definitely makes sense. But a lot of times we want to mess around with that and try not to hurt folks' feelings. But
Well, it's a right way of addressing certain issues. I'm gonna come to you direct. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because I can't stand tiptoeing around certain things. Let's go ahead and talk it out, hash it out, and get it over with. Move on.
yeah, yeah, that's one of those things, that's how it should be. But a lot of times how things should be aren't that way. Because like I said, a lot of times it's not what's said, it's what's heard. But you're right in the point that you still gotta discuss stuff. But like I said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Like I said, I probably won't do something like this, but once in a while. But I just wanted to show, different things that we can talk about it in an adult manner, in an adult way. And I want to appreciate my audience for coming on the panel. Usually Big Al's on, but I guess he's out there saving the world. I want to thank Miss Dream showing up all the way out the side of the world. Um, the lady that's slim, she's not green. She ain't mean. My baby sister Bean. And I want to thank Kim, of course. Madam D, I'll see you Thursday, but I appreciate your insights, and you're always welcome to come to the show. You are family. I got all my sisters in me. Um, DJ Dabs, always in there, always in the house, and he's doing his thing. Those on YouTube Live, Miss Nikki, a few other people who don't come up, but I'm gonna holler them out, shout them out anyway. My Facebook family, my IG family, my TikTok family. I want y'all to say, because we about the end of the show, and appreciate everybody, and just think about those. Don't forget to go to our site. Um, and I want to before we go, I'm gonna let my co-host say a couple of words. Go ahead, Chocolate Pearl.
Oh, well, it was a good show, interesting. I learned a lot. Um, and I'm going to try to do better with my decisions of how I choose a mate and what I allow to happen.
I think
Thank everybody for coming on. It's too late.
Yeah, you can't do better now.
I'm just about to say that, DJ Dabs. I said I think you did a good job this time. But she throwing shade on your name. I'd have a long discussion with her afterwards. If you can't address it,
Okay,
boom.
good night. Bye bye. It was nice knowing you guys.
Hey, Apple,
I just want to say good night, everybody, and thanks once again for coming on this week. And I'll see you next week.
Bean.
I just want to remind people, if you're lonely, go to an elderly home, find you a nice elderly person to talk to. You will never be lonely again. Okay? Being alone is not bad. Sometimes you will need that to reevaluate your morals and your priorities. But again, subscribe, follow, share, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're out of here. Peace. Love y'all.
And before we go, I'm gonna say, if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Till next week, check you out. Peace to everybody.